At exactly 6:03 a.m. I stood barefoot in my bathrobe, gripping a half-full mug of coffee, staring into the empty chicken coop like it was the scene of a murder. Feathers floated in the breeze. The gate hung open, and somewhere behind the hydrangeas I saw a flash of blonde hair duck out of sight. It didn't take a genius to piece it together. My chickens had been stolen. Not by some predator. Not by accident. This was a targeted, premeditated, feathered felony, and there was only one person in the entire neighborhood deranged and vindictive enough to do it. Cynthia Holbrook, our self-elected HOA president. A woman with a platinum bob, a wardrobe made entirely of matching velour tracksuits, and a voice that could cut drywall. She had just fined me 4 chicken-scented breezes. That same woman now had the audacity to steal my flock. I stormed inside, nearly spilled my coffee, and pulled up the security footage. What I saw made my stomach flip. There she was. Cynthia, bolt cutters in hand, wearing surgical gloves like she was doing open-heart surgery on my civil rights. Her smile stretched across her face as she shoved my 17 chickens me friends into the back of a white panel van. She looked like she was rescuing zoo animals, or committing a low-budget poultry war crime. That was it. No more warnings. No more sarcastic notes taped to my door. No more public nuisance citations. She wanted a war? She was about to get a full-blown rooster revolution. You see, I didn't move out to the edge of town to fight battles. I bought the 2-acre spread for one reason: peace. After 15 years in the Army, all I wanted was dirt under my boots and chickens in my yard. They weren't just birds. They were therapy. Nugget sat in my lap when I read outside. Scramble did a moonwalk every time she laid a double-yolked egg. Henrietta followed me everywhere like a dog with feathers. But Cynthia didn't care. She moved in 3 months ago to one of those overpriced executive homes built right past my property line, complete with fake shutters and a koi pond. By the time her moving van left, she'd already declared herself HOA president. And even though my land predated the HOA, a technicality in the zoning map let her and her cronies rope me into their jurisdiction without my vote. Suddenly, I was getting cited for unregulated egg-laying and improper feather containment. It was absurd. Cynthia even claimed my chickens triggered her Pomeranian's anxiety and caused featherborne allergies within 100 yards. She photoshopped pictures of my hens crossing the sidewalk like it was poultry jaywalking. When I showed her my official county exemption, she smirked and said, "This isn't real." I Googled it. She strutted into my backyard, flapping HOA printouts in my face and screeching about sanitation like she was the chicken Gestapo. I should have seen it coming. But nothing, not even her insane trail mix organic chicken repellent, prepared me for the morning I found the coop empty, the lock snipped, and the ground littered with feathers like a Muppet massacre. I watched the video again. Cynthia saluted the camera like she was leading a poultry SWAT raid. 17 chickens. Gone. The sheriff came. He was sympathetic. But poultry theft isn't a felony here unless the loss tops $1,000. I did the math. Between feed, coop, breeds, and my emotional trauma? Way over $1,000. But justice would take months. Cynthia, meanwhile, strutted around like a smug suburban warlord. That's when I called Cody and ordered 100 roosters. Cynthia wanted a chicken-free neighborhood? Oh, honey, you should have read the fine print. While hens lay eggs, roosters raise hell, and I had just placed an order for the noisiest, most aggressive roosters this side of the Mississippi. Cody Gallagher, an old Army buddy turned competitive poultry breeder, laughed when I told him the plan. "She stole your chickens?" he asked. "Every last one." He whistled. "I got what you need." By noon, I was hauling a trailer loaded with 97 full-grown heritage roosters and 3 smaller ones with the voices of opera singers and the stamina of meth-fueled squirrels. I brought them home and built a holding pen near the property line. Wired it with an Arduino board, fishing line spools, and a solar-triggered latch that would release them exactly at 4 a.m. I baited the release zone with treats. Rigged lawn gnomes with hidden GoPros. Positioned the birds like feathered commandos outside Cynthia's pristine backyard, complete with koi pond, zen garden, and her pride and joy, a rose-covered gazebo where she hosted silent tea ceremonies. By dusk, everything was in place. And at 4 a.m. sharp, I hit the button. The gates opened, and chaos was unleashed. It sounded like the gates of hell had flung wide. 100 roosters exploded into her backyard with the force of a feathery tsunami. They crowed, flapped, perched on her wind chimes, peed in her koi pond, knocked over her flamingo statues. Within 30 seconds, her lights flipped on. Then came the scream. Cynthia burst out of the house, broom in hand, bathrobe flapping like a cape. One rooster landed on her head. Another chased her around the koi pond like a squawking demon. She slipped on chicken crap. Twice. And I, from my perch in the tree blind, sipped coffee and laughed like a man reborn. The neighborhood lit up. Lights flicked on. Dogs barked. Someone yelled, "What the hell is happening?" Animal control arrived 40 minutes later. By then, the roosters had made themselves at home. One was nesting in her birdbath. Another two were lounging on her hammock. A bold one pecked the koi like it was pondering the meaning of life. The officer looked around, stunned. "Ma'am, where did all these come from?" Cynthia pointed at my house, screeching, "He did this." "You got proof?" he asked. She blinked. "Well, no. Ma'am, those are roosters." "What's the difference?" Even the birds looked personally offended. Later that day, Cynthia called an emergency HOA meeting. She dubbed it Operation Cluckajetten. She played slow-motion footage of crowing roosters, claimed the Pomeranian now had PTSD, called it an act of biological terrorism by unregulated livestock. She even tried to fine me $50,000 and seize my property. I stood, calm, collected. "You can't seize what you don't govern," I said. "I'm not even legally under your HOA." That's when my cousin Melanie walked in, a real estate attorney with a voice like velvet and the legal instincts of a barracuda. She dropped a binder the size of a phone book on the table and said, "We're countersuing for theft, harassment, and defamation." The board blinked, then ruled in my favor, and removed Cynthia as HOA president on the spot. But that wasn't the end. Oh no. Cynthia didn't go quietly. The next morning, taped to my mailbox like some pathetic battle flag, was a lawsuit. Cynthia, through her cousin's shady law firm, was suing me for $25,000. Emotional distress, property damage, loss of political credibility. She called it public humiliation by poultry. We went to court. She arrived dressed like a grieving heiress from a bad soap opera. Black veil, oversized pearls, tragic sighs. Her lawyer looked like he practiced law part-time and sold beach timeshares on the side. He claimed I had orchestrated a biological assault. We countered with footage of Cynthia breaking into my coop, stealing my chickens, bragging about it via text, and trying to resell them on Craigslist. We played the rooster footage. All angles, including the one where she screamed as a rooster dive-bombed her head. Even the judge cracked a smile. Then came the neighbors. They testified about Cynthia's reign of terror, about her threats, her fake fines, and her vendetta against children who biked too enthusiastically. By the end, Cynthia looked less like a victim and more like a supervillain in the third act of a Disney movie. The judge, God bless her, gave a ruling I'll never forget. Ms. Holbrook, you committed theft, lied to your community, and abused this court. Mr. Brennan's actions were unorthodox but entirely legal. She dismissed the case, ordered Cynthia to pay damages and issue a formal apology. It was over. Cynthia's nameplate was torn off the clubhouse wall. Her koi pond dried up. Her gazebo was now home to raccoons. Her house went on the market. No fanfare, no goodbye party. Just one morning, she was gone. And in her place, a neighborhood reborn. We planted gardens, hosted barbecues, started a newsletter called The Weekly Cluck. I turned the back half of my land into a rescue sanctuary for unwanted chickens. Schools took field trips. Kids learned about farming. Tango and Blythe, two roosters who led the charge that morning, became local legends. As for Cynthia, she became a meme, a punchline, a reminder that no amount of HOA power can beat a man with a dream, a plan, and 100 very angry birds. And every morning when the sun rises over my land and the coop bursts to life with a chorus of clucks and crows, I smile. Because the war is over, and the chickens won. For